We're delving deep beneath the 8 points, taking warbands into dangerous dungeons, claustrophobic crypts and catacombs, and many other areas of terrible terrain that the dark gods and their minions have cooked up. Yes, we're unboxing Warcry Catacombs, the new, and most certainly grimdark, box game from Games Workshop's Age of Sigmar spin-off. Where the original Warcry focused on warbands in brutal combat over the 8 points, well, Catacombs changes things up and focuses on warbands in brutal combat under the 8 points. Same but different? Let's find out in this, the first of a 2-part series. Here, we open the box, breathe in that sweet new game smell, and then take a closer look at the 2 new warbands and their abilities. It's instantly apparent that this is a set packed with goodies. There's frame upon frame of miniatures and terrain as you dig down. Be warned, within is far more than just 8 points. The scenery in here is bristling with spiky bits, and, as all GW fans should know, hobbyists who care should do their very best to avoid spiky bits. Some Games Workshop box games, such as 40k Indomitors, are supplied with simplified push-fit models. Warcry Catacombs is a far more complex product, and it's very much aimed at the keen hobbyist. Extra complexity is instantly apparent when looking at the frame for the Scions of the Flame, who are one of 2 new warbands included in the box. The number of parts here is sizable, more than 50 bits to make 8 models, and the complexity of them is certainly impressive. One thing that you can't fault Games Workshop on is the quality of their plastic miniatures. They feel years ahead in terms of detail, fit and tooling. Their plastic kits are at a level of detail that goes beyond the stuff other manufacturers are making in their metal or resin multi-part kits. It's just so good. These are exquisite gaming miniatures, rather than the many optioned rank and file types you might get elsewhere. The parts fit together really cleverly, making for dynamic and characterful groups of models with bits that project out in all directions and have maximum detail at all angles. Again, something that many other plastics don't achieve. And those details, they're so crisp, they're clean, they're distinct too. This is exciting stuff, and as a keen painter, you're going to really buzz off these. We're also very pleased to see that there's a good mixture of male and female fighters across both warbands, and more importantly, they're in balanced, non-male gazy type armour designs and poses, which is something that a lot of other companies, unfortunately, still haven't caught up on somehow. There's also some racial diversity visible in details on the sculpts themselves. GW are going beyond just painting a model with darker skin here. It's baby steps, but they're positive ones that we feel really should be encouraged. Okay, let's get things started by taking a deeper look at the Scions of the Flame. First up, we've got the Initiates, who are rather standard kind of models, with just a hint of flame in places. The Scions of the Flame might be fire-worshipping zealots, but rather than produce sculpts covered in a blaze, there's a commendable sense of restraint in this design, making for far more visually appealing models overall, with more diverse options. There are also the Fireborn, who are, again, standard-ish battlers, though they're a tad more imposing. These warriors have a few alternative armaments available, and, like the rest of the warband, they may use Fiery Might, a universal ability that bumps up the strength characteristic of actions. The rest of the warband consists of individualistic characters, and this is where things get more interesting in both the sculpts and their abilities. These are the sort of brutes you most certainly would not want to meet, even on a sunlit day, let alone down a dark, subterranean alleyway that drips with lava, is peppered with spikes, and rings out with the evil screams of the Chaos Gods. Leading the Scions of the Flame is the huge Blazing Lord. He can make beheading strikes, using his fiery flamberge, which adds extra damage, or he can use the other ability, Ignited Fervour, which is activated on a triple and boosts the attacks of all nearby allies. The Brazen Champion is a fantastic brute type model, with a flowing skirt of chains and spikes, who can also use the Beheading Strikes ability. The Immolator is the most on-fire model in the warband, and has the crowd control ability Inferno. This is activated with a triple, and it can send damaging flame around all nearby enemies. On a 6, the damage points allocated will be equal to the value of the Inferno ability, which could be particularly brutal if there's a crowd nearby. Rounding things out is the Inferno Priest, who brings the quad ability Engulf in Flames to the party. This is potentially devastating. All it will take is a good roll of the dice, and decimation will spread, allocating damage all over the place. We've also got to give props to this great looking model for the brazier meets branding irons type staff, which is a nice mixture of stylish and evilly practical. Gosh, so much to say, and we're only just through the first warband. Onward to the second, the Canine Shadow Stalkers. An even more complex frame of spindly bits, thin weapons, swinging chains, flowing hair and cloaks is present here, and there's over 80 parts needed to make all 9 models. I mean, the crossbows are even strung. This is silly stuff, but as we said before, next level plastics and really great for modelling. The Shadow Stalkers are marked for death, so they fiercely fight, a little like the doom-seeking slayers of the Duradin, but with the added, bonus, I suppose, that their souls are eternally bound to the Shadow Queen. They flit their way through the umbral web, and they're as deadly and specialist at sneak kills as any assassin we can think of. They look the part too. Well, let's be honest, they look bloody great. With points costs that match their elite abilities, the cheapest warband warriors are the Shroud Blades, who have a choice of cursed swords or umbral spears. 4 of these incredibly dynamic models are included, and they cost 90 points each, with the options to mix and match their weapon types. Their cloaks, and indeed the cloaks on all the models in the warband, give a shimmering effect of leaping through the web, and it's really well done. Like we say, these are great models. Any of the Shadow Stalkers can use the basic ability Shadow Leap, which is activated with a double, and it means that they make move actions as if they're flying. This is a really quick but very flimsy warband who thankfully, well for the controlling player at least, have various evasive options worked into their abilities. Dark Flame Warlocks can harness Shadow, which reduces the number of enemy attacks against them, and these are more stunning miniatures. They wield either a magic spitting Doomfire ring or dual repeater crossbows, which is an always badass look. And in the ongoing Who Did It First type playground fight between Blizzard Games fans and Games Workshop fans, the dual wielding warlocks look a lot like the archetypal demon hunters from Diablo. But having said that, those demon hunters in turn took heavy influence from earlier GW Dark Elves, so yeah, we probably shouldn't have gotten into this. Moving on. The Slaughter Shade wears a sinister mask with a serpentine tongue that lolls from it. The blades on the hip, the flowing hair, the fine weapons and the swinging whip, well, as we've said, these are absurdly lovely plastic miniatures and, despite all those fiddly bits, they're actually fairly strong and resilient. The Slaughter Shade is a momentum-based fighter, and the Instrument of Cain ability allows them a bonus move or attack action if they take down an enemy. That makes hit and run options here, and it's probably how you should be playing this warband on the whole. Weighing in at a hefty 190 points is the Shroud Queen. This model will, we suspect, be a favourite with high-level painters. Their robe wraps around and creates a flickering, snake-like style. The faceless mask gives a look of ambiguity and an unseen, emotionless danger. They've got a quad ability, Ensnaring Darkness, and it spreads damage equal to the ability roll, hitting all enemies within 3 inches. They can also opt to take 3 wounds themselves, which will up the range of this damage, going out to 6 inches, which is definitely an ouch. And that's it for now. In part 2 of our Warcry Catacombs deep dive, we'll get into the following: the cards and box, the rules, the Catacombs expansion book, the scenery, and the gaming board. So make sure to check it out.
This video has been brought to you by WI Prime, Wargames Illustrated Magazine's online members club. View more videos or find out more about WI Prime by following these links.